Hello and good morning. It's a beautiful morning and we're supposed to get up till 18 today. So we decided to come here fairly early, 9 o'clock, for various reasons. First of all, Ace, the horse, been misbehaving and managed to kick some of the fence off, so we need to repair that. But also it's going to be manic at the allotment. This is the time when everything needs to be planted out. And furthermore, Nigel had his hand repaired, had a little tendon operation, so one of his hands is out of actions.
And I'm not allowed to garden for a week.
He can keep me company, peel plastic of the wrappings and stuff like that, so I would best get on with that. I think I'm going to go to the greenhouse and pick all the stuff which needs to be planted or something sorted out with urgently today. So instead of writing a list what I need to plant, I've decided to, well, just take the stuff out in the wheelbarrow, and that's what needs to be sorted out. So there's a few onions which I will fill the onion bed once I finish reading it. And there is some alpine strawberries which will go in a little pots, shallow pots, and then I will probably transplant them later on in the season. But they're going out of the greenhouse, they don't need to be here. Probably the peas. These are the Vallenbill's allotment peas, the ones which they normally send to gardening friends, like the Kent Blue and No Plus Ultra. I've got 3 of those to be put out. I've got some celeriac, and well, we'll see where we get. Oh, there is always a plant which you forget, and you know, till it's too late. Well, these are my dahlias, they need to be potted on. I'm going to plant these little alpine strawberries which I grew from seed, and I'm using mixture of green compost, which is obviously processed at high temperatures, so it's completely sterile and doesn't have any life in it, with some spent compost and garden soil. So this has just now been mixed up, and I'm going to put 3 of these to a pot. This seems to have a fairly good root system zone, so I'm just going to split them and plant out. Well, Nigel is sorting some cardboard, because that's a fairly easy job, and I'm going to do another easy job, which is planting some of the celery. Look at them. All I need to do is tidy this corner up from the stinging nettles, and that's where they will go today. Now that little job is done, I think here in between the broad bean and sweet pea I might put the line of celeriac. They're quite small and they will just start growing properly after the broad bean is gone. Well, a couple of jobs are done, and this is the row of celeriac. The last job is to water them in. Well, next job is to plant these dahlias in a pot to start with and put in some frost-free sunny spot. I almost forgot about them, so just as well I was watching on demand some of the I'm not quite sure, is it this week's or previous week's Gardener's World, and Monty was planting his dahlias. Well, there we go. Let's just see how they survived. Monty, he's not here. Nigel is not here, and I haven't got a biscuit. Oh dear. That's terrible. 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 No, he's still not here. I know. That's absolutely terrible. Well, they look in very good sort of state. There is a bud here, just there. So the pots I'm using are fairly small for this first lot. They're not going to be there very long, and I'm going to keep them here near to the polytunnel, because if we were expecting any frost, I can promptly put them back in a shelter. So I shall carry on. I've got 12 of these different dahlias, and then I'll show you what do they look like, all potted on. Okay, so in this tray here I've got the Karma Serena, and next to it is Snowflake, in the kind of a pale coffee colored pots. Then in the black just by the fence is Le Castel, and Le Fleurel is in the green. I have also managed to repot a couple of these chilies or peppers. I have no idea. The chilies and peppers this year are going to be surprise, whatever overwintered. And these flower basket. I mean, this one is quite okay. He's losing these 2 leaves, but seems to be quite strong. And the second one is fingers crossed. Now, I just wanted to point out that this is the second sowing of the peas, and this one on the right is Nairobi, and on the left in the same is the one which I already had, which is the New Horizon, and it's not very happy at all. Perhaps it's a little bit too warm, I don't know. Anyway, I'm going to water it all well, because in that sort of heat everything goes fairly droopy. I think these sunflowers would like to go out, so maybe that's a job for tomorrow, who knows. I've got some nasturtium here in some purple, and the purple spinach, tree spinach, and this one's the cosmos is recovering since it's been repotted, so that's all good. I've got 5 more chilies to repot, and these are going to be all the chilies we have this year. We also took the cover of the bolting cabbages, cleared the area, de-weeded, and recovered all the debris.
Bit grayer today, but pleasant. And with several tasks that we're planning to do, planting some peas.
Planting
mulching.
Bill and Val's Kent Blue and the Plus Ultra in the bed. Well, we already have some onions there, but they are not immediately next to it. So we're hoping that will be fine. And we will plant something in between anyway. So, and then we have, what have we done? We've prepared the bed for sunflowers and cucumbers. Yes, we put some very well rotted manure, 5-year-old manure, but that would have weed seeds and so on. So on top of that, we've put some green compost. And then we also weeded and pour some green manure over the onion bed, and I planted the few onions that I had. I think they were stir, and the other onion was something red. I'll find if I...
Well, here's the bed that's going to be used for the sunflowers and cucumbers this year. it's been some well rotted manure and covered with green compost, hopefully to keep the weeds at bay. And then over here is where the peas have been planted from Bill and Val, and they'll be covered up in a minute with a rack. And these are the onions that have been weeded and a bit of green compost put in there. And over here is some gooseberries and red black currants, which have been taken away some of the stinging nettles, but it's still pretty wild up here. Lots to do. And then down here is the pheasant, having a wander around the greenhouse, trying to get in the greenhouse maybe. Quite sure, there he is. Can you see him? Just going to come round the other side and go, oops. Started chopping back on the stinging nettles. They seem to grow every year without too much problem. And there's the fez. Can you see him? Just disappearing. He likes to come around for some food. So I expect I'll have to give him some food. Hives are still there, and the wilderness is still there. We've been doing all the tedious jobs like weeding and clearing, and hopefully the next stage will be more productive work.
Well, this is actually very productive because without the prep we haven't got any garden, and it is the really very difficult bit. This is the we're clearing, we're actually making, we're trying to make, let's see how we get on with that, we're trying to make brassica cage in existing sort of bit of land, and we need to clear it up first. It was quite badly overgrown last year when we planted the beans, and we never could manage to get it under control. So this year, because it's mainly bindweed, this year we've got to sort it out. So yes, it is tedious. And neither of us is looking forward to it, but it needs to be done. So we're prepping for planting that. We have all the cabbages and everything really wanting to go in, and we just need to do that. So thank you very much for watching today, and hopefully you can join us next week, and happy gardening.
And goodbye from me.
And it's goodbye from me.